Hey guys, so in this video I want to show you how MATLAB creates matrices. And matrices are really the backbone of MATLAB. And they're so important in fact that it's a common misconception to think that MATLAB stands for Mathematics Laboratory when it actually stands for Matrix Laboratory. So let's get into it. So let's say we have this matrix A, that's a 3 by 3 matrix that consists of the digits 1 through 9. So how do we actually create this in MATLAB? And well, it's really simple, and here's the line to do it. And let's look at this in a little bit more detail. So the first thing we do is we declare the matrix, and we do that by saying A equals. And A here is just a variable, and that's a special programmer's term to mean a name. And we like to name things so we can easily reference them. So instead of calling it by this fancy like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we can just call our matrix A, and that's all a variable is. And variables can actually be anything in MATLAB. They can have upper and lowercase letters, they can have numbers in them, and they can even have some special symbols. But it's really common practice to name our variables according to the matrix that follows it. So in this case, I'm making an example matrix, right? I'm trying to teach you guys how matrices work in MATLAB. So instead of calling this A, it might be better to call this example matrix, because this variable name fits the purpose of the matrix that follows it. So now that we've declared a matrix by doing a variable name and then equal sign, we can actually create the matrix itself. And we do that by using these square brackets. So anything in MATLAB that's inside these square brackets is a type of matrix. And then we input the elements of the matrix. So any elements of a row are either separated out by spaces, or an equally acceptable answer is commas. But what's important to understand is when we're creating a matrix, we need to be consistent. So if we're using commas, we need to use commas for every single row. So we need to change these. So there. So again, it's important to understand that for elements of a row, we separate out either by commas or by spaces. And then we separate out individual rows by semicolons. So this is essentially saying, this is the first row, start a new row, this is the second row, and start the third row, and finally the third row. So if we enter, we create the same matrix A as above, but this time we've called it example matrix. And so now that we know how to create matrices in MATLAB, we can actually create matrices of any size or shape. And so there are two important types of matrices you should understand, and those are row vectors and column vectors. So a row vector is a matrix that's only one row long. And so that means we're using only spaces to create this matrix. So let's look at an example of a row matrix. So it might be something like this, and I'm going to call it little a this time. So this is a row matrix, and as you can see, we're only using spaces, so we should only get one row. And indeed we do. See, it's all in one row. And now a column vector is like a row vector, but it's only one column. So that means we're only using semicolons when creating the matrix. So I'll call this one B, and now I'm only using semicolons, no spaces or commas. And so as you can see, this matrix is only one column long. So I hope this video helped. I hope you understand a little bit more about how you create matrices in MATLAB, and I'll see you guys in the next one.